Hey guys, Mike the Alpha Hoarder here. So today I want to talk about one of my favorite cards in the set. Favorite because of the art, not because the card is of any value or use whatsoever, as far as I'm aware. But it is Ashnod's Transmogrant. This is an Antiquities card, Mark Tedden, whatever, one of my favorite artists, and it is just creepy. Whatever this poor guy or creature used to be, he's getting transformed into some kind of machine hybrid based on what the card does anyway. But I just loved this art right from the beginning. And then I managed to get a hold of this 10, which it's a pop 1 as of now. There's no black label. And once I got this, I just started collecting the card. And so I've been trying to get one in each number, but it's kind of hard to do once you get to the lower numbers, and I couldn't do it all in BGS, so I just started taking what I could find. But I got a bunch of those here. Not a whole lot, but I got a handful. This video is going to really show you what kind of a nut job I am. If you didn't figure that already, you'll find out in a minute. And then I also wanted to chat a little bit here about buyouts and the dynamics of markets involving some of these really old cards. Not that I'm a professional in such things, but I did take some notes when I was buying a lot of these cards. Now this card is not a reserve list card, except that it's an original printing old card. So there are only 93,000 copies that were ever printed. So in that sense, it's it is still limited availability, but it is not reserve list. It was reprinted many times. Don't know if it was in Chronicles. I imagine it was, but it's in 4th edition, I believe, definitely in 5th edition. So the card is readily available, and so I was curious what would happen if someone went and acquired a whole bunch of copies of this card, and I did just that. I'll talk about that in a minute, I guess, but first we'll just look at a couple of these. So I showed this in a different video. This is a modified, not artist modified, altered art, hand painted. Love it, really cool. Got a couple foreign ones. I got a misprint. Got a couple signatures. And then I got a couple artist proofs, which is cool. And then I bought a few copies of the card. And a few more copies. And I got a couple more copies after that. And then a couple more after that. And just a few more to finish it off. So I have a lot of copies of this card. Pro tip: if you are doing a buyout, make sure you keep track of exactly which platform you bought the card on and who the seller is, and if you can figure out what state they're shipping it from. eBay shows that. TCG Player shows that. It was a nightmare at first keeping track of which cards I got and which I didn't, and you would be surprised how often mail goes missing. I never really thought that was a problem until I lost my mind and started buying cardboard. But I have mailing problems all the time, and when I first started doing this, I had no idea which ones were missing, which ones were arriving. So there's a little pro tip for you, and if you're a seller, include the packing slip, please. So many times I would get an envelope, card inside, nothing else. Who the hell is it from? I have no idea. So I started collecting this card, and I got lots of copies. So I was doing it slowly for a little while, but then I had started watching more YouTube videos. There's a guy I like, MTG Moxman, Rudy, obviously. And some of these channels, they're always talking about buyouts and the dynamics. And I was just curious how it really works. Like, what happens when someone wipes a market out? Do the cards come back eventually? You know, do they never refill? Does the price hold, or is the price only up because you're the one putting pressure on it? I didn't really know, and I kind of wanted to find out. And so this card was a great candidate because it's not reserve list. And so, you know, I didn't want to affect players. I don't actually know if this card is playable at all. I believe Ashnod's Altar has recently become playable, but no idea about this card. But anyway, I didn't want to risk that. I didn't want to interfere with people playing the game. And so it seemed like a great opportunity. It's still an original printing, black bordered Antiquities card, under 100,000 print run. But if someone really wants to play with it, they can grab, you know, 4th edition, 5th edition for a couple of cents. So I started buying this card, and this was, I want to say, January of 2021, maybe. Ugh, that's a nice one. Looks like the goop is leaking out. And a near mint at that time was 15 or 20 bucks, I want to say. And I just nuked the market. I went to every platform I could find. ABU Games, TCG Player, Card Kingdom, eBay, Channel Fireball, Star City Games. I even went to Amazon, Dave and Adam's Card World. There's a bunch, but I went everywhere. Except Card Market. That is just too expensive. I'm in the United States. It's just too expensive to get the cards here. But anyway, I went to all of those markets, and in the course of about 2 hours, I just nuked everything. And the price went from 20 bucks all the way up to about 80 or 90. And I did see one Reddit thread popped up. I'm not really on Reddit, but because I was doing this, I searched just to see. One guy noticed and posted a thread. People were trying to figure out why some idiot was buying a non-reserve list card with no playability. And so the guy that started the thread and you know, a few other people posted additional copies at jacked up prices. The color looks funky, huh? Looks almost blue. The highest priced one I think was 142 bucks. Yeah, 142 bucks for one of these. But at that point, like I said, I'm kind of a nut job. I've got some obsessive compulsive tendencies. I had that whole screen wiped, and then cards started popping up, and I just had to wipe it again. So I did pay for at least one of these. I paid $142, which was, well, you know, whatever. Good for the guy selling it. Take advantage of an idiot when one stumbles along, right? And I was that idiot. But anyway, after I nuked the market, the price sort of settled around, I want to say it was like 50 or 60 bucks. It was basically double. And for a couple of weeks, well, within a week or two, I would say, the inventory skyrocketed. Lots of cards came to market. I would say as many as I had bought showed up again. And the price was about double, as I recall. Unfortunately, I didn't take notes as detailed as I should have. I did one other buyout after this one, and for that one I took detailed notes, so I'll go into that in another video. But anyway, the price, as I recall, was about double, and it held that for a while. Oh look, some of these do have the blue. More than one. I wonder what that's about. But now today, a year later, there are plenty of listings available, and you can get near mints around 20 bucks, 20 to 25. So it's interesting because the price completely reset, and I didn't expect it to do that, and I'm not 100% sure why it did, but it's useful to know. Because if you think that just emptying the market is going to guarantee that the value of your cards holds, that is not necessarily the case. If there is not upward pressure, if there isn't actually demand from people to buy the card, then those new listings at the higher prices just won't move. And some people will just leave it at the higher price, so perhaps the market average does move up. But people that want to sell cards, you know, certainly auction formats, ABU Games is constantly listing these played at auction. Those aren't going to sell for the high prices. They're going to sell for what the actual demand is, and a buyout is not real organic demand. So for a non-reserve list card, even an old one like this, buying all of these copies probably only made a 10 or 15% difference on the market. Oh, that was really blue. So I don't know why I'm paging through all these. They're all the same. But this is something I do. I just love these cards. I really do. I'm obsessed with them, especially alphas, hence the Alpha Hoarder name. But some of these old cards, man, the nostalgia is just unreal. Cannot get enough. I just cannot get enough. So I didn't buy this card again for maybe 6 or 9 months after I did my nuke. But then I've continued to acquire copies, maybe 1 or 2 a week, just whenever I see a cheap one, just because I love it. I just love it. There's something so cool about just stacks of the same card. I usually re-sleeve everything. I guess I didn't for a couple of these. This is close to 1,000 copies. I've got a few more somewhere. This is probably more like 800 actually. But this is what 800 copies of one card look like. And if you do the math, it's still only a fraction of 1% of the total market share on this card. And there you have it. This was the time that I decided to buy out a worthless, non-reserve list card just to see what happens. And it was fun. But I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to make money. I'm lucky that I like the cards. Otherwise it would have been quite the bath. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the video, please consider sending me your complete schedule along with a list of all your fears. See you next time.